You know, anytime you want to get to the root of any matter, you go back to how it started. You go back to the beginning. So, as I'm about to start this series on deep thoughts, it led me back to the beginning. I mean, I just had to write my thought on man. This man God created, this entity called man. What is this beginning like? Even if we cannot get to the root of the matter, I began to borrow the knowledge that the philosophers of old gave to us. That in the beginning, God created man in his image and after his likeness. So I was wondering, so what kind of man did God created? Or when God created man, what was his intention? And his intention, are we actually living it? Did something change? At what time did something change? Can there be anything for us to get better? This was just the route I was trying to spread my thoughts towards. And I realized that the man God created was not supposed to lack. The man God created was not supposed to beg for food. The man God created was not supposed to struggle. Do you even know the worst? The man God created was not supposed to die. The man God created was not supposed to forsake. The man God created was a commander. Whatever he calls things, that is what it is. So something changed. At what point did something change and what changed? I realized that the man God created had no knowledge of evil. He was not limited in any way. He was not limited in any way, and this is not first as a result of supernatural ability. It was as a result of consciousness. Hope you know that from the beginning, as a man think, so he is. There was no knowledge of negative thoughts. It is so clearly written by the writings of the ancient philosopher that evil came into the world the day man gained the knowledge of good and evil, which means nothing has changed. As he think, so he is. When he had no knowledge of evil, all he experienced was the best. But the day he began to have knowledge of evil, evil came into the world. So you, me, everyone who is coming into the vision of a high consciousness must gradually begin to erase that knowledge so that we can journey back to the man God created. Sorry, I will need to on this air because I'm feeling a little bit of heat and the sound is going to disturb us a little. The man God created was a pure dominion, but he fell because he began to listen to the wrong voice and he started adopting if knowledge that began to demean his power. He became conscious of the fact that he was naked. For instance, you can listen to something and that thing you listen to talked about a sickness. It may look like just a research, a research. But as you listen to it, you became conscious of a particular sickness. The knowledge of that sickness has already created a possibility of you having it. If you know nothing about it, you cannot have it. So, we need to embark on the journey of brainwashing our mind. I don't know if brainwash is actually the perfect language, but let's use it. Brainwashing our mind. Nothing is happening randomly. The man who is prosperous financially has succeeded in tuning his mind to believe that he is prosperous. Everything that happened on earth is just life trying to carve your deepest dominant belief to you. Make no mistake about it. The things around your life is not the fruit of your hard work. They are the fruit of your predominant belief. If you are even hardworking, it's as a result of your belief on hard work. Your predominant belief is your reality. And if you watch the whole thing, you can see that we can culture our predominant belief. We can recalibrate our predominant belief by our affirmation and by the things we see and hear. If you say something repeatedly, it becomes your dominant belief. And if you hear something repeatedly, it becomes your dominant belief. And if you hear it repeatedly, a time is going to come, it will manifest in your life. Knowing this, then it's already a proof that we can rewire our mind to become anything. You can program your mind to never have any business to do with sickness. Oh, many men has come to this realm. I do not want to use myself as an example of anything I want to say. But many a man has come to this realm. I know many men who will make affirmation. I know many men who had make affirmation all day and say, I will live long and I will live strong. And as a result of that, they live for very long. I know many who will always tell themselves, I cannot be sick. A time came in their life where they will go for years and they have no business with sickness. Because I cannot be sick has become their predominant belief. You are not sick because you drank bad water. You are not sick because of something. Your environment is not the reason why you are sick. Your predominant thought is the reason why you are sick. Me understanding these things, I don't try to shift better or change things. I am on the business of flushing, betting, fixing, shifting my thoughts, making sure the predominant one is what I want. And you cannot achieve these things without culturing the things you see and hear. You can make up your mind after listening to me. Where do you want to shine? Maybe you want to be a healer. You want to start healing the sick. All you need to do is to begin to brainwash your mind that the healing power is on your hand. As you say it daily, you try it. The first day it will not work because there is something called the law of compound interest. The second day it may not work. This is where consistency comes in. You keep saying it every day, spending time in meditation every day. A time is going to come, your mind, spirit, body, and soul will be convinced that the healing power of God dwells in you. You will lay your hand on the sick, and your subconscious will compel his subconscious. And all of a sudden, somebody will become healed. Let me share you something. Many a man has explored mind power. Moses divided the sea with mind power. And make no mistake that it happens by luck. These men were master hypnotists. Moses for years was at the backside of the mountain, mastering the frequencies, laws. So make no mistake to think he just came out and did it by luck. Jesus, the same thing. Remember that the Bible says, and Jesus returned. From where? From where? These men were master hypnotists on the journey of brainwashing their mind to believe. Jesus got to a point where anything he wanted, he could command it. It was not just the fact that he was anything you assume. Yes, I am one of the people who believe that Christ Jesus is the manifestation of the universal power called God. But even him did not violate this law. There was a season where he submitted himself to Pharisee. A time came, he grew above them and began to explore, journey deep in wisdom. He increased in wisdom and he began to understand the laws that govern the earth. So he was able to manipulate it. He understood the law of detachment, like be anxious for nothing, that when you care about nothing, you can command everything. He was putting these laws to work. That is why the law of detachment, if you pay attention to the miracle of turning water into wine, Jesus applied that law. When he brought the water, he didn't check it to see if the water has changed. He was on a flow straight and he said, go and give it to them. He was so conscious of the fact that it will happen. You know, when you get to that point where you are so conscious, or when you know that it will happen, you know it so much that you will not even want to check it. Sometimes wanting to check it is doubt indirectly. So begin to grow. Your aim may not be to be a healer. Your aim may be to discover a particular knowledge that will take humanity to the next level. Yes. Whatever you think, this force is going to give you everything you need to bring it to pass. Moses had a burden to rescue the Israelites. He didn't know that part of the requirement it would take for him to rescue the Israelites was to part the sea. But when that time came, everything he needed was given to him. Everything you need will be given to you. Provision only follows vision. Provision, I repeat, only follows vision. Oh dear, oh Spirit, help me. So, if you spend your life just looking for money so that you can enjoy, you are doomed. God does not support men like that. But when your life is on a mandate, what you need is no longer your business. Hope you know it was Elijah who shut down the heavens, and yet everybody was starving. God had to still send ravens to give the same man who caused it food, because that man was no longer living for himself. Even when he was in palace, he said, before God, whom I stand. He was so conscious of God's presence. See, say it to yourself every day until you believe it. I cannot be stranded. I carry God in my inside. I cannot be stranded. A great man said something, I can fail alone. Me and God cannot fail together. So when you have a sick daughter and you are panicking of this about that sick daughter, you don't have understanding as to the things we are saying. I know a man who gave birth to a child who does not hear. The child is a deaf and dumb. But the man said, no way. My child is a child that speaks and hears. He held that conviction until a day came. That child did not have the organ responsible for speaking and hearing according to, but a day came, that child began to speak and to hear. Can I tell you, even if an organ is missing in you, If your consciousness refuses to accept it, if you can tune your consciousness to believe, it will be replaced. In fact, even if a man's leg is cut off, totally cut off, the day our consciousness can come to that point where we believe that it can grow back, it will grow back. We are only limiting the universal power. And everybody who is going to join this vision, remember the mandate, a new consciousness. Men who will strike chord, inventors who will produce things beyond. Let me tell you, anything your mind can think, you can achieve it. You are not wise enough to think what is not possible. In fact, when you think a thought, it is God who placed it there. You are not wise enough to think impossible things. But you see, every thought that came to your mind, someone has think about it before. But for it to become your reality, you need to dwell on it. There were men who lived for 500 years. There were men who lived for 1,000 years. But the time came, it was impossible for man to live 200 years. Something happened to the consciousness at some point. Something happened. We need to begin to ask questions. You know, there is a revelation that says that a time is going to come where I can't get exactly what Bible verse is this now, where he say, "O death, where is your sting? And O grave." If you pay attention to that Bible verse, you will realize that that Bible verse is pure immortality. When you hear about heaven, many people think that this paradise is everybody will die and then we go to another location called heaven. Remember that Jesus Christ said that the kingdom of heaven is within you. So which means the heaven you are waiting to go can be here refined. Can be here refined. That a time is going to come where this old Jerusalem will be rolled away and another one will be rolled in. Another one where man no longer dies. How is this thing going to happen? Another one where man no longer dies, man no longer falls sick, man no longer gets old. Are you sure that the driver that will take us to this realm of possibility is not consciousness? If you think it's not, tell me what will take us there. Everybody will die and go to another location. Which other location? The kingdom of heaven is within. Which means the possibility of coming into that realm is also within you. That is why even Jesus had to tell us that the day where these things will become a reality, I don't know, only the Father knows, which means we are the one delaying. He said, but this gospel of the kingdom must be preached across the globe before it can happen, which means this consciousness must be made known to all before it can happen. Oh dear. Everybody will not understand what I'm saying, but there are them that I am sent to.